Hello and welcome to episode 71 of the 214 Sports Show. We're glad you joined us yet again for another great episode. It is the Larry Allen episode, the legendary Cowboys O-lineman, the Hall of Famer, one of the greatest offensive linemen to ever do it. Rest in peace to the former Dallas Cowboys lineman. Glad to have you back on the podcast. Going to talk a little bit about the Rangers and Mavs, maybe the Cowboys, but not too much on the agenda though. But I'm Joseph Duffy. Glad you could join us again. Joined alongside TJ Krilowicz as always. How you doing, TJ?
Doing good, Joe. It's glad to be back on. Great episode. Great it's named after a great person, so um blessed to be here today.
Yeah, by all accounts, Larry Allen was not just an obviously great offensive lineman, but an even better person. Almost like a big teddy bear. Had the strength of a grizzly almost. If you see those clips that he had throwing people around, but even had sneaky speed when he would even pick up a football and go run down the sidelines. You saw against the New Orleans Saints back in that famous play that had John Madden just grinning from ear to ear. But rest in peace to the legend who passed away not too long ago. But on the start of this episode, let's talk about a legendary day in DFW history. The day we're releasing this episode, the Dallas Mavericks on June 12th won their first and at this time, only NBA championship against the Miami Heat in Game 6. They won 105 to 95 in the American Airlines Arena, not the center, but arena where Miami played basketball at the time. And what a monumental victory for the Mavericks franchise, for Rick Carlisle, who's also trying to win another championship, and for Jason Terry, who led the team in scoring the day, 27 points, 11 for 16. Dirk Nowitzki had 11 rebounds also. Jason Kidd had 8 assists. LeBron had 21 points, and it was not his most memorable series, and people still give him flack for it today. But what a series victory, and what an ending to a spectacular run, and the most hard-earned run, in my opinion, in NBA history.
Yeah. Yeah, I certainly agree with that. It's got to be the most hard-earned run in NBA history. Thinking about all the Hall of Famers that he had to go through, Dirk, that is, and of course the whole team as well. You got Dirk or Kobe Bryant, Paul Gasol, which is at least two. You have three at least on the Thunder with Durant, Harden, and Westbrook, and then you got three again against the Heat with Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, and LeBron James. So what a great run. And hopefully it's not a long trek until we see the Mavericks back in the NBA Finals. A lot of fans say that you would have seen the Dallas Mavericks in these NBA Finals right now. They would have played game 3 yesterday against the Pacers if they didn't trade Luka. So
You know, it's a shame though that people make that Mavericks ring too much about LeBron's failure in the Big Three's failure in that first year that they got to play together, and not more about the crazy run that Dirk and the Mavericks were on. This was a team full of a lot of vets that were trying to chase a ring at the end of their careers, and a lot of them had failures. Jason Kidd couldn't get it done with the Nets early on when he was in New Jersey, along with Richard Jefferson and co back in the early 2000s. Sean Marion couldn't get it done with the Phoenix Suns, and then Dirk Nowitzki couldn't get it done along with Jason Terry in the mid 2000s and that run against Shaq in '06. But they finally got it done. Champion Lakers and OKC, a young KD Westbrook and Harden, and then the Miami Heat. So what a spectacular day in DFW sports history. We start off the show. We're going to go with a little bit of talk about the Texas Rangers, who don't even know what to say at this point. Can't say that they're back. I want to, but after that victory we saw last night, or last night as the day we're recording, where they put up 16 runs, they look like the offense has finally had a pulse, and it hasn't always translated to wins in this past week. As since we've been gone, the Rangers have been swept by the Tampa Bay Rays, but they did win a series against the Washington Nationals. But Marcus Semien in particular has heated up a little bit, has brought up his batting average a little bit to about 213, I believe, the last I checked. He's been struggling for the majority of the year. And to see him, I saw Evan Grant put a tweet out that he and Jacob deGrom have the same ERA in the season, or the same number, because he has the batting average, and deGrom has the same ERA at 212, which I thought was a cheeky tweet. But Marcus Semien is now hitting about 212 in the season, I believe. after struggling a lot this year. Do you think even that he has risen high, that that's a sign that the offense is possibly turning around, or do you think the jury is still out in this team?
They're the bipolar Rangers. I don't know how to say about their offense. I don't know if this is the heating up moment of the season, if this is the turnaround that we've been all waiting for. Marcus Simeon has been on an incredible run. I think he's been batting over 500 in the last 10 games. It's just an insane streak that he's on right now, especially considering what he has started off with this season. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see if maybe him getting it going can spark another player getting it going, you know. Maybe another veteran like Adolis Garcia, maybe Jonah Heim. Those are the players that the Rangers need to see start producing like they did, you know, for example, in the 2023 postseason for this team, which they haven't really reached those levels quite since. And that's a little bit alarming. Hopefully they can turn it back around, but I just want to make a quick point. Those 16 runs against the Minnesota Twins on Sunday, or not Sunday, I apologize, Tuesday. I mean, I think that run support for Tyler Mahle might be the most runs that he's gotten the entire season. Like if you add all of his starts together, the entire
Combined.
season, I don't think you even get the 16 runs. And all of a sudden,
Boy, dude.
They 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 saved up for Tuesday against the Twins. Don't know why, but they
Hmm.
finally pull through for Trevor Mall. And it
Yeah,
was
they had something. They
16
had something from
runs.
Minnesota right there. Wow.
Yeah, don't even get me started on Dallas sports and Minnesota sports. I feel like it's like almost, you know, Dallas sports, you can argue that Dallas sports has it pretty bad, but my goodness, man, do they like to beat up on some Minnesota teams?
Oh yeah. I mean, as we're recording this on a Wednesday evening, the Rangers are on a three-game win streak. They just started their second game in the Minnesota series against the Twins. Again, they're on the road, but after that, they'll be back home to play against the Chicago White Sox, who they lost to about a week or 2 weeks ago in Chicago. So this is a wrap of a nine-game road trip for the Texas Rangers. They've been away for quite a while. Got swept in Tampa Bay, as I just said, but won in Washington. Let's see how the rest of this series turns out. But as it stands for the AL West, this Mariners team is tanking. We've seen this so many times for Seattle in the past. They start off hot, the pitching looks excellent, the offense is okay, but it could pop off every now and then. It's very streaky, but I didn't expect it to be this early that they would possibly take a step back and slip away from the AL West battle, but the Astros are starting to really heat up a little bit, and they're still not even running away from it. So this division, in my opinion, is kind of wide open still. The Rangers are only about 4 games back, but the Angels have been hanging in there at third place, going neck and neck, switching between third and fourth with the Rangers. And so Ron Washington, the former manager of the Rangers, has done a pretty nice job so far in Anaheim this season to start his second year of his tenure with this organization. For me, I mean, this Rangers offense, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's a positive note for the Rangers is that for the season they're finally positive on their run differential. They're plus 14
Phew,
now on the season.
just
And if you look at all the wild card teams, at least the ones in contention, you're talking about like at least 5 to 8 teams in the AL that are within 4 games of the wild card standings, the 3 spots. And out of all of them, let me just make sure, by the way, but out of all of them, it is that the Rangers and the Red Sox are the only teams with positive run differentials. That's a good sign. We used that at the beginning of the season when they were winning a bunch, but they had a negative run differential, and we said, look at this. This is not substantial. This is gonna, you know, eventually
it
this
come back
team's
to bite them. Yeah,
probably gonna tank. And what happened? They've been tanking. But now they've started to pick it up. Their offense is finally helping their defense. So, good sign. I won't say that maybe, you know, maybe I'm giving false hope, but I think that the Rangers, hopefully by the end of the or by the beginning of the All-Star break, will be in one of those wild card positions. I have confidence that they could be.
My only fear is that once the offense heats up, the pitching tanks. And that would be the most Rangers thing that you could ever like imagine or come up with because I feel like I've seen that so many times. They can never be on the same page. The 2023 World Series run was the only time we've really ever seen that, in my opinion. But when I look at this team, do the starting rotation, I cannot believe what they're doing. Even in a game that Molly didn't exactly put up his best numbers this season, he still
Hmm.
ended up getting the win as he got a crazy amount of run support. Gave up 4 earned runs, which is technically a lot for him. It still rose his ERA, but when you have run support like that, you're gonna win most games. So you look at Corey Seager, who's just not coming back from his injury, starting to get his feet going again. I mean, he's back to 248 at a batting average. It's been up and down since he returned. But Evan Carter, who's been called up, I'm really loving what I'm seeing from him again. He had some really nifty plays in game one in center field against the Twins. Two of them in the same inning with that sliding catch that he would have. Always plays like a smooth operator in the outfield. So I think defensively this team is figuring it out. Leody Taveras, I don't know if he caught this. He just got DFA'd by Seattle. So maybe Rangers
I
fans can
actually
stop
didn't know
acting
that.
like I hope Rangers fans can stop acting like it was a bad move at this point because it was time and I wish the guy the best, but too many errors and too many defensive mishaps were the reason for his release from this organization.
Well, can I say
But
something about Evan Carter?
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, it's not a, some kind of let me try to rephrase this. We saw him absolutely be one of the most important players on the Rangers team in 2023, not only just in the postseason, but in the entire month of September when he got called up. And that was a very long time of Evan Carter producing consistently and being a great player and being somebody that the Rangers can possibly really rely on. And that's not just something that, you know, it's not just going to go away. That wasn't any coincidence. That was consistent. And it's going to eventually come back, I think, also.
I
I
mean, he
think
was
that that's,
playing. Yeah.
yeah, he was playing out of his mind sometimes. Those defensive plays that he was having as well, that play in the outfield, the left field against Bregman, and against Houston, and Globe Life South, by the way. Um,
And let him know.
But I mean, we knew that this had to come back eventually. I'm so happy that he's finally getting back in the form. I think he had 3 hits on Sunday against Minnesota, a home run. He is producing again. His swing looks nice. He looks like he's gonna be back in the lineup. Hopefully, not gonna be back in Round Rock anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I don't know what it is between Dallas teams and Minnesota teams, but something about Dallas teams having something special for Minnesota when they play them. Hopefully, this team can wrap this road trip up well because, like I was saying last week, this schedule does not look too bad as we go ahead. The biggest challenge coming up will be Kansas City, but after this series against the Twins, it's going to be a home series against the White Sox, who I think will definitely be at least one series for the Rangers, as opposed to what they saw during their losing streak a few weeks ago. But then after that, it'll be, of course, the Royals, and then Pittsburgh, who has caught a lot of criticism for not helping out Paul Skeens. You saw just last weekend how they gave him no run support through 8 innings, and he still got the loss. And then after that, it'll be Baltimore, right? These are teams that are struggling right now. Should be a chance for this team to show that they are capable of being at least a wild card team, which we all thought they'd at least be. Also contended for the division as well. Rebound from a really down World Series, post World Series victory season. But we'll have to see how this team comes in the next 2 weeks because this is a really important run coming up. I don't know what to expect from the offense. We've seen bipolar offenses in the past month or so, really the whole season. But when you see these teams coming up, it should give you some hope, surely.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree.
All right. All right, that'll wrap up our Rangers talk. And as we move to the Dallas Mavericks, again, it won't be a long show here. But the NBA draft officially less than 2 weeks away. It really crept up on us. The draft lottery has already flown by, and the Dallas Mavericks, your Dallas Mavericks, have the number one pick after unprecedented odds. Somehow rose up out of the ashes like a phoenix to get the number one pick in the NBA draft and are projected to get Cooper Flag. Right. I mean, they're going to get Cooper Flag, right, TJ?
I'm not gonna say anything.
I mean, surely.
I'm not getting my hopes up.
Yeah, surely the Dallas Mavericks, Nico Harrison, Patrick Dumont and co. Jason Kidd, who, by the way, Jason Kidd is, I don't know if he's gotten blocked yet to be interviewed for head coach for the Knicks, but I've heard rumors that he could be interviewed. I think that's a kind of sneaky storyline that we've heard the past few days, but that's a big thing to watch.
Mavs aren't
But
gonna let him get interviewed.
yeah, I mean, already we've seen teams block their coaches getting interviewed as well for good reason. I mean, you don't want to do that for a big market franchise like the Knicks. But Cooper Flag. Will he be a Maverick? It has been pretty much confirmed by Rick Welts and Patrick Dumont. They don't really plan to deviate from the hyped 18-year-old prospect from Duke. He should be a Dallas Maverick, and that leaves again the question, TJ, of who will be the starting point guard by the time October rolls around. If this team has a great forward in Cooper Flag, Anthony Davis should be starting the season at center again, but Kyrie Irving is still not here, and Spencer Dinwiddie, and Dante Exum are gone. Who's going to be the point guard yet again we talk about in this podcast for the Dallas Mavericks? There's a lot of options out there.
Yeah, listen, I think that Drew Holiday is the most ideal fit for the Mavericks as a point guard. That's going to be a trade target, but of course, I think that that's going to be a tough one. You're going to have to probably get matching contracts. That's going to include Daniel Gafford in it, at least. And so, I mean, to be honest, I understand trading Daniel Gafford makes some sense, but I don't want to get rid of him. Again, he's one of my favorite Mavericks players. He reminds me of Brendan Wright, which is also one of my favorite Mavericks players. I mean, I think that the most realistic answer and the one that I kind of am hoping for would be Tyus Jones, somebody who can kind of be a sneaky pickup in the free agency market, somebody who I've always really respected as a basketball player, somebody, who used to play really well against us when he was on the Memphis Grizzlies, played for the Wizards as well, now in the Suns. And I think that he would be a great pickup, somebody who ideally would be a backup playmaker for a very good playoff team, which realistically, we're hoping that the Mavericks can still be if they are healthy, but we know that that probably won't happen. But if they are healthy, they're realistically a good playoff team. And I think Tyus Jones, once Kyrie comes back, would be the ideal backup playmaker that the Mavericks would want. He's an incredible player, and he can also really score. He can put the ball in the bucket.
Yeah, like you were saying, man, like when you bring up the trade acquisitions, like we don't really have them, or trade pieces that you need to acquire a player. We really don't have that. We don't have the picks like that. We also don't have the depth to send off guys like that, which makes me say like you have Daniel Gafford who's a quality center. He's had a crazy run since he's been here, has helped guide this team to the finals along with Luka Doncic. I don't think I'm on board like with you that he should be gone from here to acquire a different point guard. So that makes me think that we should acquire via free agency. Tyus Jones, I like that answer right there. Haven't heard it that many times from people. Again, I'd have to think it'd be in the cheaper end, right? Because he's not demanding that much money. Tyus Jones had a great run when he was in Memphis as a backup point guard to John Morant. But when I look at Tyus Jones, there's no way he's going to demand that much money in the market as well. But I look at also guys like Malcolm Brogdon. He could fit into that as well, not demanding as much money to be a long-term short-term point guard until Kyrie returns. If I'm holding on to this Dennis Schroeder point as my number one, I don't know what it is. Do you think that he'll be that much? He'll demand that much because he is still a free agent target. He's had a solid career. He cost himself some money with the Lakers, turning
Yeah,
down that
that's what I
contract.
always think about with
I
him.
always think about that sadly because I feel bad for the guy because he deserved that money, I think, at the time. But since he turned it down, man, he really, shot himself in the foot there, and his career has never been at that level since that. But do you think he's still a target or a valuable target for this Mavericks team?
I'm not a big
No,
Schroeder fan. I'm not a
no.
big Schroeder fan. I don't know. He just reminds me of like Dinwiddie, somebody who can, he's gonna be somebody who like if we were insanely injured like we were this year, he's gonna lead the team in assists. Like he's not a bad playmaker, but man, would he just be? I feel like he's just a frustrating player to watch. I mean, there's a reason why he can't stick with a team. I just don't think that that's. I think that it just would be Spencer Dinwiddie again. I don't know how else to explain it. That's just how I feel like it. Not a big fan.
With the season he has had with Detroit, being a backup point guard to Cade Cunningham in Detroit with um, Coach JB up there, who's really learned how to build a young core up, which he saw in Cleveland as well, JB Bickerstaff, that is. He's really built up that core well and guided them to the playoffs. Who knows? Detroit may want to re-sign him with how he brings a lot of veteran point guard teaching to Cade Cunningham and that young core along with Jaden Ivey.
I hope they
But
sign Chris Paul so we don't have to deal with all the Chris Paul to Dallas or BS.
dude, surely not. Like if this actually happens, I'm gonna throw my phone. Chris Paul is not gonna be a Dallas Maverick. 40-year-old Chris Paul surely will not be a Dallas Maverick, right? Come on now. But I mean, I look at these targets, dude. Malcolm Brogdon, Tyus Jones, potentially Chris Paul, Dennis Schroeder, Javon Carter, who I've heard recently as well. I don't know about that one. There's no way that dude's gonna get starting point guard minutes. But
That's
again,
not a difference maker.
he'd be the cheapest option available. But there's no way, man. No way. I don't know what this team's gonna do. I think I'm on the Jones or Dennis Schroeder train like you. Tyus Jones
Whoa,
is a
like
great
me,
option.
Tyus
No, no,
Jones
no.
at
Tyus
least. Yeah.
Jones like you, not Dennis Schroeder like you.
Don't put me with that name. Do
Dennis
that.
Schroeder. I don't know why you don't like it. I love Dennis Schroeder, man. I've been an admirer from afar. I don't know what it is.
Error from afar.
Yeah, I respect the German. I respect him. But yeah, the draft is right around the corner, man. Only about, I think, 13 days away. It'll be on a Wednesday. Yeah, on a Wednesday, not a Thursday, as you see in the NFL draft. But Cooper Flag, for all intents and purposes, should be a Dallas Maverick. Hopefully. And so, with that being said, I think that'll be the end of our show. Do you have anything else to say, TJ? Alrighty. I mean, we talked a little bit of the Rangers and Mavs. The Cowboys were going ahead with their OT, and training camp is around the corner as well. George Pickens, it looks to be that he's getting some work in and possibly routing some of these Cowboys DBs, as reported by Tommy Arsh, who was on the show a few weeks ago. But some people like Israel
Yeah,
Mukuamu
Tommy.
may disagree with that assessment, that he was not getting routed and that he fought back and it was an even matchup. But, in Dallas Cowboys news, it always has to be drama. Always has to be. You got to snap back at the media. You got to let reporters know who's run the team, who the players are. And it's always kind of a soap opera with the Dallas Cowboys. So hopefully, with Brian Schottenheimer bringing some team building, I saw him like taking these dudes to Greek dancing or something a few days ago. You saw that?
I don't
He's
know,
always he's
man.
always doing something in the news like out of nowhere. Like it just makes me just scratch my head. But if it helps build a team, I'm all for it.
This culture thing, what? Look, man, the Cowboys are gonna cowboy until I see it on the field, man. Until I see it on the field, I'm not believing any of the hype. Any of the hype. They can hype me up and break my heart when they're on the field. I don't want to get started this early. It's barely even OTAs.
Dude, like we saw in that I don't know if you saw that video of Micah trying to prank Brian Schottenheimer. You know that prank where you call somebody and say goodnight? Have you seen that trend?
Okay, I've seen that, yeah.
He called Brian Schottenheimer and they pretty much had like a heart to heart. Like Schottenheimer wasn't even moved by it. He actually was like thankful for him saying goodnight. And it was just like, oh yeah, thanks, man. I mean, I'm really enjoying your leadership as a veteran on this team at defensive end and linebacker. So thank you for saying that. Good night to you as well. But yeah, but Brian Schottenheimer, man, I don't know what to expect from him this season. So this guy has so much pressure on him. I almost feel bad for him at a point, but I bet he wouldn't have it any other way. 51-year-old first-time head coach coaching a five-time Super Bowl champion franchise that has not gotten it done in almost 30 years. I wish him the best, and it looks like he's already earned the respect of his players. So that'll do it for episode 71, the Larry Allen episode. We do invite you to like and follow our accounts. We post on YouTube every Thursday morning at 11 a.m. on YouTube and Spotify, where you can find this podcast in full length. Also, you can follow our accounts on Twitter/X, also on Instagram and TikTok, where we post reels or shorts about our content and what we discuss, and even what happened on certain days in DFW history. At 214 Sports Show is the at for that for those accounts. So we do invite you to like and follow that. And so, TJ, would you like to share your social as well?
Absolutely, Joe. It would be a pleasure of mine to share the socials. You can follow me at X at TJ_Krilowicz, and then you can also follow me on Instagram at TJ.Krilowicz.
And for me, you can follow me on Joseph_Duffy99 on Instagram, and then also the same handle, Joseph_Duffy99 on X/Twitter. Then even on my TikTok, which I'm starting to actually take seriously now, possibly make more content at Joe_Duffy. So again, please like this video right here, episode 71, and follow our accounts. Again, we're on X and Twitter, and then Instagram and TikTok. We post these full length. I hope we can put them up one day, just up there. I can point or look down there.
We got links on the video.
Yeah, we got links in the video in the description, I should say. But on YouTube and Spotify, we post our podcast in full length Thursdays at 11 a.m. So thank you for joining us again for another episode of the 214 Sports Show, episode 71. For TJ Krilowicz, I'm Joseph Duffy. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.